Hey guys, welcome to the Old Ultra Runner channel. I'm your host Jay Tynert, and today I wanted to do my 350 mile update on the Altra Riveras. The Altra Riveras were a new shoe from Altra that came out early in 2021. They were, from a stack height perspective, they're kind of slated between the Altra Escalantes, which have a 24 millimeter stack height, and the Altra Torrens, which have a 28 millimeter stack height. The Escalantes have a 26 millimeter stack height. They are the same stack height in the heel, which is 26 millimeter, and in the forefoot, which are 26 millimeter. And the majority of Altra shoes are known for, they fit well around the heel and the midfoot, but they are known for having a wide toe box, in addition to being zero drop. Well, the Riveras were their first shoe that they came with a slimmer forefoot. I think in an attempt to appeal to runners that don't really like the wide forefoot. And I have a standard foot, and these did work fine for me. I will say I do kind of prefer what they call their standard fit on the Altra shoes. I do kind of like the wider toe box. I have Altra Lone Peaks for the trails. I have Altra Torrens, and I just kind of prefer the wider toe box. So for that reason, I probably will not be buying the Rivera 2s. There's just lots of good other options for daily trainers, and these fit in the daily trainer box for me. That being said, these have been extremely good shoes. They use the Ego midsole, which is the same midsole material that they used in the Altra Escalantes, which has been extremely popular. The Altra Torrens now use what they call Ego Max, which is very similar to the Ego midsole, but it's a little bit softer, gives a little bit more of a, I guess I would say, squishy feeling, but they're still responsive enough that they don't feel too squishy in the Torrens. But these do give a responsive feel. These shoes, I'm now forgetting what they weigh in a men's size 9, but in my size, a men's size 11.5, these come in at 9.3 ounces. And by comparison, I do have some daily trainers that are a little bit lighter. But anyway, the Riveras have been very good shoes. I did have my initial reviews. I said the rubber seemed a little soft on the bottom, was one thing I didn't care for, and I actually had a review that I did at 160 miles where I had worn through on this left shoe. I had worn all the way through the rubber on the heel, and you'll see it's gone now. But it was already going through at 160 miles, but I added shoe goo to it. The shoe goo is now worn off, but I've added it a couple times, and I was able to extend the life of these shoes up to 350 miles. And to be honest, these still have quite a bit of responsiveness in the midsole. I will say it may have reduced just a little bit over the 350 miles, but they're still pretty responsive. The midsole still seems to be doing its job. I could probably add shoe goo to these and keep going in them further, because the upper still looks perfect. There is a little bit of wear in other parts of the sole. I am now finding that on wet surfaces, since I've worn away enough of the grip stuff on the sole, that they're not the most stable thing in wet now on wet roads. They were great early on, but now as this rubber has, a lot of the pattern is worn away, I do think they're a little bit more slippery on wet roads, but that's not to be unexpected with shoes with a lot of miles on them. But other than that, these have been very comfortable. They've worn well. They're holding up well. I am just primarily retiring them because I've got other shoes in the daily trainer category that I want to use up and put miles on. And I have other options, so I'm going to move forward. I'm not planning to buy the Rivera 2s just because I think I prefer the little bit wider toe box that Altra makes. But the Ego midsole in these have been so good. I have been impressed with these shoes. So what I think I'm going to do is when the Altra Escalante 3s come out around mid-year, I'm planning to buy those. They'll be I think they'll be a fairly similar shoe. They'll be a little bit less stack height. I'll go from a 26 to a 24, but they'll still have the good Ego midsole, but they will have that wider toe box that I prefer. So that's kind of my plan going forward. But again, these have been very good shoes. They've worn really well. Other than that one, if on my left foot where I have the inefficient toe foot strike, I wore out the rubber, but like I said, I was able to add shoe glue to it and extend it, and the shoes lasted a long time. The other thing I was not crazy about on these shoes was just the laces, just a real slippery, kind of a thin, slippery feel. But once you got them tied, they stayed in place well. They were never really a detriment, other than I just didn't like the feel of them as I was tying them, but they stayed in place good. They stayed tied, so no issues at all. Anyway, I've actually been very happy with my experience in the Altra Riveras. I would say anyone that is interested in not a real wide forefoot, consider them. Good shoes. I've enjoyed them. Anyway, that is it for my update on the Altra Riveras at 350 miles. I hope you found it useful or entertaining. If you like the video, please consider hitting the thumbs up, the like button. If you are interested in more of my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. And other than that, I hope you're having a great week and keep moving.